Happy Monday and welcome to the Racing Insiders podcast, our new show new day and time, a show we've been doing for, about a year now or more.
Or not.
Yeah, because 2020 is when we started this, so a year and a half, I suppose.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but you know what? Is this the first? Nope, this is the second show of the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it all runs together. We had the Cars Racing show this past weekend, and oh my goodness.
Which was huge.
Oh, it was great. It was really great. I got to talk to so many racers and manufacturers. I'm definitely going to have some new products coming this way or coming out and new videos as well. Got to talk to some manufacturers. I just had a great time. What about you?
I had a blast.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, not only the after hours activity, but like during the show. I mean, the nice thing to me, all right, so not knocking any other trade shows because we go to the biggest ones usually. This show to me, I get to have more one-on-one time with people than I do at other places.
Yeah.
Where, if you've got 10 people wanting to talk to you, you can spend, 2 minutes apiece with them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, the guy at the end of the line might be a little waiting 20 minutes to talk to somebody, goes on and comes back, whatever. But like this show here, no, I got 5 people wanting to talk to me, and I can spend, the same or more time with them than I can, in the other scenario.
Well, I mean, as a trade show organizer, what really makes me proud is the deals that are done between the exhibitors, and especially exhibitors who have never met before, who would have no reason to be,
right.
Like their paths wouldn't have crossed, except for the fact when you're right across from them, and again, it's not this crazy, insane type of an environment.
Correct.
Because it's exactly racers. It's
right.
It's not every Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street.
And also that being said, I mean, it's still a sell show.
Oh my God.
So whereas other shows, you're not allowed to sell anything out of the booth, yours you are. And you can go in and get show deals and everything else. I just thought it was brilliant. I mean,
there were a lot of
y'all
deals.
did it last year, you and your brother.
Yeah.
And this year, I think it was freaking 10 times better than last year. Of course, last year we were locked down with COVID, but
we had a lot of restrictions on that. But this year we more than doubled our sales for Crate Insider.
That's awesome.
More than doubled. We also had a lot of new products that had never done a trade show before.
Yep.
So this was such a great opportunity because it's not as expensive of a venue.
Correct.
We're like the kinder, gentler kind of a show to do.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And
yeah,
I don't know. I just think the interaction between, people who want to ask you questions about your products or your services or whatever, I just think the interaction between each individual is like way better.
And since this is a podcast, I do have to do a shout out because the podcast Chicken Bone Alley, they were freaking-tastic to work with. I mean, they did some great interviews at our pre-show kickoff party, but then also, like we get the show started and it's first thing in the morning and I'm like, it's too quiet in here. And I walk by and they've got this great playlist playing and, we were able just to work on the fly and they got this great playlist that was playing in the background, not too loud, not too quiet, like full on Goldilocks, just right.
So day one of the show, I showed up about an hour after the show started, for reasons.
Did you have a lot of fun at the pre-show kickoff party?
I had a lot of fun at the pre-show kickoff party. So I showed up at an hour after the show started. And I walk in, I'm like, wow. Because I remember last year, and I'm like, wow, there's double or triple the people in here on Friday than what there was last year. Now it tapered off faster, I think, on Friday.
Yeah, I think so.
Which was fine because that just led everybody into night 2 of craziness. Which I showed up 3 hours after the show started on Saturday.
Yeah, you had a big time. Yeah.
There
was a lot of racers that picked up a bunch of deals and sponsorships at this show.
I know there was. Yeah.
That was really fascinating.
I think there's a lot of manufacturers that picked up a lot of good stuff too.
Oh, absolutely.
Stuff I can't speak about, but I know there's some good deals going on.
Oh yeah, there was just a lot of that interaction. Because normally there's not time. I mean, when we're back at our offices or in our shops, it's just awkward to pick up the phone, but it's a lot different when you're just like, hey, how you doing? And then by the way, that's pretty cool. Like maybe we can work on that kind of thing. And things just organically happen.
I mean, as somebody, I don't consider myself no big person in the industry. I mean, obviously we have our little niche deal going on, but I can tell you, going to some of the other trade shows, if I talk to the average person who I've never talked to before, I'm not going to remember that person.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, a week later when they call me, because I've talked to that many other people.
Yeah.
And in this deal here, because you have the one-on-one interaction where you can actually take some time and actually get another person and talk to them about their certain scenario or whatever they got going on. They call me the week later, I'm going to actually remember who that is because I'm going to remember the conversation.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So let me ask you this.
Yep.
There are dates for next year, January 6th and 7th of 2023. You going to have a booth for Hendron Racing Engines?
If I got 604 engines, yeah, I will. I mean, hopefully by then we've got motors. Hopefully this month we've got engines. But no, I definitely will. I mean, the reason we didn't, and the reason we didn't is,
well, you did. You were just part of my booth.
I was just part of your booth.
But you did have a listing in the program, and there was a sign.
Yeah.
There was a sign right there too.
Right.
So we just kind of connected.
And kudos to Alex, because honestly, Alex, like, he was there. My son, Alex. Yep. He was there the entire time. And of course, when I'm like laid up in the bed at 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, he's down there answering questions and helping people.
Well, that's the hard thing about being the show organizer. The one thing I can't really do much of is spend time in my booth. But, I've got some great team members that did a wonderful job.
Assistant Tori did a great job.
She was incredible. And her husband, Terry, and Alex and Curtis, they all did a great job taking care of our customers. So that was really good. All right, well, let's jump into some questions. I see we got some folks here. And in fact, there was a question that came through. I may have been Facebook or email or something, but awesome assistant Tori went ahead and dropped it in here. And we go back and forth here. All right, so this is from a person named Brian. He says, he saw the video about Rotella oil. Mm-hmm. We have been running it and having overheating issues, and we'll be switching to the cloths you guys offer. Would there be a connection with the Rotella 1540 and overheating issues, since we are not allowed oil coolers in our 602 tour type modified?
No, I don't think so.
Sometimes it could help, but it's not a cure-all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a cure-all by any means. I mean, so Rotella 1540 is it's honestly just a street oil, which is completely different from racing oil. So, I mean, while I don't think it would have a direct connection to like overheating issues by any means, what I know it's going to do is it's going to break down much quicker than a racing oil. And the racing oil it's racing oil for a reason. Yeah. And I'm not an oil expert. I mean, everything I base my oil knowledge off of is the people I know in that industry. And so I'd be repeating anything that they have to say just without direct knowledge. I would suggest actually contacting Buck Parker at Daytona 1 and asking him that question. Yes. And I'm in an email. Yeah. And I mean, Buck would certainly answer the question for you. Mm-hmm. And with Buck's, he won't talk over your head. So he'll like talk to you like I am, basically.
Yeah. Make it really simple. Yeah. For sure. I think that's a great suggestion, Steve. Right. Okay, here's one for you. Stanley says, how long to get my 604 freshened for the first rebuild?
Unfortunately, right now, dude, I'm about 12 weeks out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, unfortunately, just that time of year. Mm-hmm. I mean, and here's the problem. We're doing more rebuilds right now than we're doing new stuff because I can't get new stuff.
Right. Nobody can.
Normally, a normal year like this, we'd be doing quite a bit of new engines, which actually process through relatively quick.
Yeah, because they're clean when you get them.
They're clean when we get them.
You don't have to do all of the...
We're not taking rings off of pistons. We're reusing that. You know, I mean, that kind of
thing. Right. Absolutely. So. Okay, so Chuck is here. He says, good evening, Kate and Steve. Let's start the show off right. Let's go, Brandon.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Absolutely. Oh, Doug Smith is here from Schaefer's. Yep. And he says, thanks for the great show. I got that oil order coming.
It actually arrived today.
Oh, did it?
So every engine that goes out of my shop goes out of there with Schaefer's in it. And so Friday I show up, or I guess it was Thursday. Yeah, I guess it was Friday. Show up at the show. I'm like, Doug, as usual, I just ran out of oil and I forgot to freaking order it in advance. So I need oil, and it showed up today.
Well, and
so what kind of service is that?
That's really awesome. And the other thing that happened was here's a perfect example. So my dad's booth was directly across from the Schaefer's booth.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I got this index card saying, hey, next time I order oil, order this for my dad.
Right.
So I just told Doug, I was like, just go ahead and send me my normal shipment. I mean, it's not like I'm not going to go through oil. We go through oil like candy. So I went ahead and ordered my dad's oil. And so that's correct. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay. Ooh, here's a good one. And I do know the answer to this. Rob says, do you know if a lot of guys and gals are running E85 in the Crate series?
Absolutely.
Lots.
Right now, it's kind of the hot ticket. I mean, it's like everything else. It ebbs and flows. 10, 12 years ago, everybody was on E85. Then we went away from it, went back to race gas because we were having problems getting E85 to like run in the cold weather and start and restart and stuff like that. And then with the invention of the new, most current carburetor stuff on the market, the billet center sections, everything like that, we're going back the other way now. Mm-hmm. So now we're back on E85.
Gotcha. Yeah, it all is a
no, absolutely.
cycle.
I mean, yeah, and for the cost, I mean, I know it's going to go up like everything else, but it's still going to be roughly half the price of what a drum of, race gas is.
Mm-hmm. Amazing assistant Tori is here. She says the show was amazing.
She did a great job.
She did one heck of a job. She's our social media guru for promoting the show.
I mean, she was evil during the show, but
that's her job.
Just to me.
It's her job. It's her job. All right, we got John Doe is here. He says, howdy, Kate and Steve. For some reason, can't leave comments on the Facebook feed. Well, John, I'm glad you can definitely do that on the YouTube channel. So that's great. So we actually, for anybody who's listening later, because of course we have this as a podcast. So if you want to listen, you can catch us the following day. So on Tuesdays, you can see us or hear us over on iTunes or Google Play or any of your podcast providers.
Right.
But so for anybody, if you're wondering how to leave comments, you can go to our Crate Insider Facebook page. That's not working for John, but if that doesn't work, then you can just definitely catch us on YouTube and drop in a comment. Okay. All right. So Katie Ramey is here. She says, this is Earl on my wife's Facebook watching since I'm still in damn Facebook jail because of Steve.
It was because of Andrew Garris, actually.
And Steve, I'm the damn best in the Southeast, damn it. Laughing my ass off. Just kidding. Thank you all for a great show, but most of great friendships. We had such a wonderful time. There are some hilarious antics between the two of these.
Always fun.
My favorite was when you went out to decide to smoke a cigarette. Earl comes to sit next to me and puts a cigarette in his mouth and we pose. I'm just laughing. And then Andy posts it and says, the new Steve Hendricks.
Right.
Oh my
Somehow
God.
Andrew Garris was involved in all the debauchery.
He's always involved. He's always involved. Andy's the best. Oh, gotcha. Stewart's here from Australia. He says, G'day, blokes. Yep. Happy New Year. Any updated news on 2-barrel E85 development from your cars show? No, I didn't really see any 2-barrel stuff. I guess. No. I mean, Bill Pink was there, and I just didn't get a chance to go over there and talk to him about any 2-barrel stuff.
No, I don't, honestly.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes open. There's going to be something out there at some point.
I mean, that's something I'd probably honestly talk to Willie about.
Yeah.
I mean, Willie does an assload of 2-barrel stuff.
Yep, for sure. All right, Mike is here. He says the new Mid-East 604 series looks like it's going to be a hit in 2022. Lots of drivers come by and asked about the series.
Nice. That's
great. I mean, the Mid-East, they did their banquet at the show. Yep. They had a great presence. So we're so grateful that they were there. Yeah. So that was really cool.
And I mean, some people think more series hurt racing. I think, more within reason actually helps racing.
Yeah, I think it just depends. It just depends. I mean, there's 100 opinions. You get 100 people in the room and they're going to have 100 opinions about racing. And what I found when running a business, sometimes you just got to throw ideas on the wall like spaghetti and see what's going to stick.
Sometimes you do. Yeah.
That's what I do. Experiment and be willing to try new things and see what happens. Right. Some things are going to succeed.
Well, I know Mid-East does work in conjunction with, not ruled over by or anything else, but they get along with most of the series out there.
Right.
and like Crate Racing USA and stuff like that. So they're all on the same page.
Well, and what a wonderful success story too, because they've grown their series from Mideast Modifieds and then adding Mideast Street Stocks, and they've added more divisions along the way. So, big
now, at
props.
some point, you guys got to calm down a little bit and just let's stick with what we got.
Yeah.
But
agree. And Pat's here says, have a great show.
Yep.
All right. So John says, on your Top 5 Tuesday, I thought you said you had matched a valve springs for 602, but your website says you were out of stock. Do you have them? Also, should keepers and retainers be replaced also? So we have a pile of springs at the shop, but we need to go through and rate them. And so today we had to unload a truck from the trade show. So, I mean,
it'll be coming sometime this week.
It'll be this week. So so John, if you would drop in your email where it says out of stock, and then, hey, put in your email address to be notified when they're back in. We have a bunch of springs. We just haven't had a chance to rate them. And it's one of those things that I hate to oversell. So once we get some more on the shelf, then we'll do that.
As far as the retainers and keepers, I personally, retainers are not so critical. So probably, I'm going to say every 5th or 6th time, maybe you change springs.
And I don't even sell retainers.
You might want to consider changing retainers. It should be something you should probably stock.
That's good to know.
Keepers, I'm going to say every about 3rd time you need to change keepers.
And there are different.
Now, if you're like right up there on the upper end of the RPM limit of what these engines do, which I'm talking like 64, 6,500, keepers, you probably want to replace a little bit more often because they're stamped steel. They're not chromoly, so they will fray, meaning they're gonna keep moving up and up and up.
Oh, so that's what happens.
Yeah.
Well,
they're softer than the valve.
Well, they're also a $20-something part.
Yeah, I mean they're cheap as shit. So.
Yeah. So if you really want
if you want to do it every time, you can.
And I have a lot of guys that do, or every other time.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay. All right. Here's a good one. Donovan says, what is the best carb spacer to run for a 602 using 4-barrel? Completely open spacer, one with 4 holes, or 4 holes tapered? Thanks.
The one that I found to be the best actually is that HVH spacer. And I had this question several times actually at the trade show we just had. And it's the one with the little center divider in there.
Mm-hmm.
That all it does is round off the divider in the dual plane intake manifold. And that thing is worth 5 horsepower over everything I've ever tested.
Nice.
I mean, just is what it is. And you wouldn't think it. I mean, just looking at it, you're like, the fuck is this? But no, it's worth 5 horsepower over everything I've ever tested.
Now, does that even apply with different fuel selections? I know for a while you were
it does. The only exception to that would be some of the really small Venturi size carburetors that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a couple 4 holes that actually work better. But like if you're on just a normal 650 base plate, then that carburetor or that spacer is the best one that we found.
Great to know. All right, next up, Elaine says, what spark plugs are the best for E85? The standard NGK R5724-8s, or is there a different model of NGKs for E85?
We actually use that same exact plug if you're using the NGK, and we also use the same exact plug with the AR94 Autolite.
Mm-hmm. If you can get them, you can't get those right now.
Right now, yeah, you can't get shit.
But NGKs, I have NGKs for now.
I personally like the AR94 a little bit better. And it's not for a power difference; it's for like longevity. I found that those AR94s last quite a bit longer.
Yeah, and there is a price difference between them too.
Yeah, the other one would be an AR39. Oh, wait, she said 602.
No, this says for 85.
Yeah, okay. Like a 604, we also use that AR3910, which is actually a gasket seat plug, and that works pretty well on a 604 as well.
Cool.
602, I would stick to the tapered seat.
Tapered seat.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about with that? You
the peanut plug, like the ones you sell, those. But
peanut plug.
Well, that's what I call them.
That's kind of a fun name.
Yeah,
we like fun names. In our office we have things like rolly chairs and rolly carts. So peanut plugs are like, I don't know, that could go south. I'm gonna stop now. All right, next. Michael says -20 radiator hose, or will a -16 radiator hose work and keep the 604 properly cooled?
16 works quite well. I mean, I've got several customers that run that 16. On our own personal house car, we run a 20 with a double pass radiator.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, both, I haven't seen an advantage or disadvantage to either one. I mean, technically, if you go with the flow idea with a double pass, then you probably want a 20. But again, I've got customers running 16s on a double pass. It works just fine.
Good to know. Okay. Pete says, is there any interest in 180-degree headers these days on a 602? I don't know what 180-degree headers are.
I do.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen that. I personally would like to re-examine that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is like trying to experiment with stuff, you need to get a header manufacturer willing to build a one-off just to try it. And
in their spare time.
Yeah. And that's a bit of an issue. I mean, honestly, I'm going to use Profab as an example. I mean, the first header we designed for a street stock or stock clip type car, or they designed, and we tested, was under rail stuff or alongside. And it took, probably about 2 or 3 years now to develop crossover headers.
Mm-hmm.
So doing a 180-degree deal, that would probably be a little bit of a chore. It's something I personally ran back in the mid 80s. And what it does, 180-degree header, it actually increases low and mid-range torque. So it'd certainly be something to examine, but getting the time to have it built, have it tested, do all that stuff is a bit of an issue.
Well, I mean, you could always get some mandrel bends and
make your own. Yeah.
Start cutting them up.
But no, it's not nothing we have time to do either. But
yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it would be something to examine for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, it's always good to be creative. I mean, that's where the new ideas come from.
Oh, yeah.
From that.
Well, I mean, a lot of the new ideas are the old ideas. I mean, you take our reversion stuff. I mean, this dates back to the mid 70s.
Mm-hmm. And drag racing.
Well, I mean, multiple things, but
right. Yeah. But I love when you have ideas that cross over different segments or genres or right. different things like that.
So yeah, 180s would be something to look at. I'd be curious, honestly, to try it. Now, and we've talked about it before, but
what is it?
180-degree headers?
Yeah, I have no idea what it is.
Honestly, trying to sit here and explain it to you on a show is going to be impossible. I'll have to show you a picture of how it works.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Gotcha. Or I guess I could. I'm a Google search away.
You can Google
just
it,
like I say to people all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I ran it back in the mid 80s or late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, they definitely do what they were designed to do.
Hey, and any more questions you have, guys, drop them in the comments.
And I would honestly be awesome. It would be awesome to try that idea with the anti-reversion stuff that we now know works. So
it's always going to be something new on the horizon.
Well, something new from something old is what that would be. But,
yeah. Now, is there anything that you saw at the show that was new that you don't want to keep as a secret for yourself?
No, not really. I mean, that Jericho transmission.
Yeah.
Looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I think anytime you got the name Jericho on something, it's going to be badass.
Oh, yeah. And super nice people.
It seemed to be pretty affordable as far as transmissions go nowadays.
It's at that same level price point as what we're looking at for.
You guys had quite a few race cars here this year.
Yeah, lots of chassis builders.
Well, chassis builders. Yeah. I mean, I was impressed with the amount of chassis builders you had.
I can't even tell you how many we had.
That's pretty awesome.
We had Excel, Racing Chassis, Rainmaker, Statement, Train,
and then
BHR Fabrication.
Then you guys had your track and recover thing, that's going to be new. That was kind of debuted at the show.
Yes.
So, then you're going to be up at Burnham's, I believe, for his open house with that track and recover system and do a seminar on that or something.
It'd be exciting. So the track and recover is a GPS tracker that you can put into your trailer. So if somebody steals your trailer, track
or
it
your piece of farm equipment, or your
absolutely. But
it's got several uses.
It's about the size of a credit card and about 1/2 inch thick. You can hide it anywhere. No wires, no subscription fees, none of that stuff.
Yep.
So it was an opportunity. It's a product that's been available for fleets for years. There's 4 million of these out in the world, but they've just never been available for the consumer market. and I was able to connect with the company and through the development process, tailor it for the consumer use, but has all the power of a fleet device.
If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend who's a total whore, can you put it on their vehicle?
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's not as active tracking as like Find My iPhone,
Right.
but it has a motion sensor in it. So within about 15 minutes, like if it moves, then about 15 minutes later, then you get a ping and you'll get a dot on the map and like when it stops.
That's going to be a question some people have. Just saying, we are racers.
I'm not. I probably need to have people sign something like I am not responsible for like any the
Divorces
idea is what you're supposed to do. If your stuff is stolen, is issue a police report.
Right.
So yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh, here's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Billy says, so I'm curious exactly what you mean by a billet center section. Like, would a Willys carb have a billet center section?
Yeah, all of Willie's stuff now, like his, other than something that requires a Holley style center section, which would be, currently like the HP style center section, all of his stuff is going to be the billet center section.
Now, with billet, that means CNC machine.
It's billet aluminum CNC machine.
Instead of being cast.
Correct.
Yes. So that's really the biggest difference. And when we cast something and put it into a mold, I mean, there's just going to be a different way with the amount of pores and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically two people making billet center sections right now that I'm aware of. I mean, it's the only two people I'm aware of. It's going to be either Willie, which he makes his own because he's, I mean, that dude's like 100% in-house, and BLP.
Mm-hmm.
Which pretty much BLP sells their center section to everybody else who's not Willie.
Yeah. Yeah. The independent producers, independent carb guys. Yep. Oh, AJ Klein says, is an alternator worth installing on a 602?
It certainly is if you're running a HEI. I believe it's about mandatory if you're running an HEI, in my opinion. If you're on like a 16-volt system using an MSD, then not so much. So long as you're keeping your battery charged, because an MSD will fire down to, I think it's like 8 volts at full power. So, did
you go down to the Jones booth?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
did you see that one wire small alternator?
Absolutely.
Connected with the 2004 PS kit?
Yeah.
So there's this kit.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
the 2004-PS, which is the rear mount power steering kit. And I've sold lots and lots of them. I've never done a video on them for whatever crazy reason. So we shot a video, and then I'm seeing the alternator on it, and I was like,
"Well, my own son's car, we run his reverse mount alternator."
Okay.
All right, so it's on the back of the bell housing, and we run it because we'll swap between the 604 and the 525. 525 is 100% mandatory. You have to have an alternator, otherwise you're in bad shape, even with a 16-volt system. But I don't take it off when we put the 604 in there, so we run it all the time.
Yeah.
And for what it weighs, I mean, run an alternator.
Oh, it's tiny.
Especially if you can't remember to charge your damn battery.
Right. So. Yeah. And I'll be, I don't have it on the website yet, but I will. I'll get all those part numbers and stuff in the next few weeks. There's a lot of busy weeks coming up. I've got 2 Race Logic chassis schools back to back, and then the open house in Pennsylvania. So do what I can to try to get these things onto the website and get things ordered and such. Here's a question we certainly love to answer here. Michael asks, how much oil do you recommend? I see some 6 quarts, some 7, some 8, which is best?
All right. The actual correct amount, in my opinion, to run in your engine is 6 3/4 quarts. I don't want to measure that out every time, so we say 7.
Yeah, and not an extra one in the oil filter or anything. Like you're talking total
in the
quarts.
system. Yes. Yeah, with no oil cooler. I mean,
correct. Yeah.
And honestly, with today's oils, there's no real reason to run an oil cooler anyway. So, we just put 7 in and call it good. I've dynoed it with 6. I've dynoed it with 6 3/4, and I've dynoed it with 7, and there's no difference between that amount of oil. You get to 8, then there's a little bit of a difference.
Gotcha. Good to know. And he's talking about a 604 crate.
Yeah.
Brandon says, I'll take 2. I'm not really sure which exactly thing we're talking about, but he'll take 2. Scott's here from California. Thank you, Scott. It's always great having you as part of the show. Yeah. So it's been a big weekend, and I mean, it's too early to ask you how your week was. Well, I know how your week was. Yeah, well, you were busy last week, and then
it was a Monday.
Yeah. Hustled on down to the show. And Yeah, it's all kind of a big blur. Whew.
Yeah, I lost a couple days last week, me personally, but the
Yeah.
shop kept rolling until 2 PM on Friday because my brother had to leave to go to his daughter's track meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's great. And I see Jeff's here. He says hi to both of us.
Mhm.
And I think, I mean, I'm a little worn out still from the show. It was a
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of walking. I mean, how many steps did you do that
one day? It was 14,000.
Yeah.
But what people don't know is I also, like, when I'm doing setup day and stuff, I actually ride my pit bike all over the convention.
I was going to say,
center.
like, half the time you're riding the pit bike around. So that 14,000 steps plus the pit bike, you were like jamming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because as the trade show organizer and then just needing, it's not about laziness. It's about, like, I need to get to the other side. I need to do it fast. So this is, this is the most efficient way to get there. And I mean, besides, I mean, I'm not going to say no. I love riding my pit bike.
No, I know.
I love that.
Hell, you ride it around town. So.
I do. I actually ride it up to, I mean, I'm like a quarter of a mile from downtown. So I'll ride it up there. And, I don't think that people even know what to think about all of that. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I really loved seeing is toy makers. They are the freaking coolest people. David and Ashley and Jason.
Mm-hmm.
We got to have dinner with them on Wednesday night.
I missed that.
Yeah, you did. But some of the coolest people. So definitely check out their show. I mean, I'll be watching a lot more of that. I mean, just so incredibly skilled.
Yep,
I mean, I think some of these other, like, let's just say like the HGTVs of automotive stuff are kind of a bunch of posers. But these guys are the real deal.
Yeah.
They're the
100%.
real deal.
And like down to earth, just cool ass people. Like,
oh my
sit
God.
there and have a conversation with.
And not at all would you think that these are, people that are on TV,
Yeah.
the nicest people.
Exactly.
And I'm so grateful that I got to meet them and spend a little bit of time with them too. They were seriously the coolest people for sure. You just never know what's going to happen, at a trade show for sure. Oh, Mikey is here hanging out. He says he's just sitting here right now eating pineapple pizza.
Oh God, that's fucking gross.
So I like ham and pineapple, and Steve thinks it's gross, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's just oh my God.
Thank you, Mikey. Yes, we missed you, Mikey. We missed you. Mikey flew here from Oregon last year and was part of the show, and it was just so great to meet him in person, and hope he can make it.
He probably couldn't have hung this year though.
There was a whole lot of hanging to be done. Yeah. But I'm not a big drinker. So, I mean, I'll have a couple, but I also just have so many responsibilities that I can't. I've also learned my lesson because I have more than once have I screwed myself up for a whole day at PRI because of the drinking.
Thursday night, I'm like, all right, so it's Thursday night. Show starts tomorrow.
I had one.
Oh, and we're at the damn Fresh Chef doing our thing. So everybody's like shots and beer and shots and beer and all that shit. So I'm like, all right, showed up an hour late to the convention today. So you know what? Tonight I'm just gonna stick with beer. I think I was in bed at about 12:30 on night one, on Thursday night. Yeah, I think I went to bed at like 12:30. And then I decided to stick to beer on Friday night, and I go to bed at like 4:30.
Yeah, that was definitely. I'm just glad.
But I did legit stick to beer, but it also hurt me more because I showed up 3 hours late.
Happens. I had like one night.
Of course, it's like long enough. The show's long enough where it didn't really affect anything.
Yeah, I had one drink one night and 2 drinks the next night, and.
Well, yeah, but you're also the show organizer. So
I am. Yeah.
It's not like you can party.
No, not that hard anyway. And somebody was driving you guys.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah.
Designated Kate.
Somebody had to do that. Okay. Oh, we got another. And Tori's here, or Jason Orr is here. He says, speaking of incredibly skilled, cool people, I'm checking in.
He is.
So it's like the engine builder collaborative here.
And if I don't know why the hell Jason he didn't fly his ass down here.
We miss you. So come on down next year.
Exactly.
We'd love to have you.
He's like, I was thinking about coming, but I'm like, when are you flying in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fly.
It's quite the drive for sure. And this time of year, you just never know. Yeah. Oh, and Tori says something I agree with Steve on. That's probably the pineapple on the pizza, my guess. All right. James says, Steve, I couldn't find 602 headers for a street stock, profab, or BA. We can't run crossover. So actually, I'm just going to let you know, James, I made all of our headers. I turned the inventory to 0 on the website and before we went to the show, because I knew we were taking headers with us. I definitely have. I think we came back with a couple of sets of the Crate Racing USA 602 street stock headers. Take a look tomorrow.
Wait, I'm trying to think. I think I had an email from him today. Is this the Camaro clip deal?
I have no idea.
Well, that's what I'm asking him.
Yeah.
I mean, I got so many emails and phone calls today, I can't remember, but I think this was the Camaro clip question.
Oh, okay. Okay. And yeah, he says, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Camaro clip. Yep.
Yeah. I would probably contact BA and ask them.
They're 8 weeks out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, at that point, your option's basically Schoenfeld.
And they've been whipping them out in like a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you need something fast.
I mean, I don't know that it's the best, but I mean, I gave you my first and second choice. That would probably be my third, just because they make so many different headers for so many different cars because they've been in it for so long.
Yeah. And they're really fast.
Yeah.
And they've done a great job
of
getting ahead of production.
Mm-hmm.
I see Jim is here. And then John says, Steve, have you ever found the top dead center to actually be accurate on a 602, on a factory 602 crate?
Well, no, because the timing tabs move so much. So you definitely need to check TDC and then adjust the timing tab to be correct.
Good to know.
Now on 604s where the timing tab is actually stationary, then yes, I have found it to be like very accurate.
Good.
I mean, if the balancer is accurate,
right?
Depends on the year of the balancer, but yeah.
And then Billy says, I'm pretty sure this has been mentioned before, but is 34 degrees of timing the recommendation for a 602 on E85?
Yes, unless you go on a dyno. I honestly wouldn't go over 34. I mean, you'd probably be safe between 35 and 36, but anything beyond that would be kind of scary unless you actually get on a dyno.
Mm-hmm.
602s still seem to like about that 34 to 35 on the 85. So rarely do I see it where 36 or above is like the sweet spot,
mm-hmm.
where 604s are the opposite. 604s, hell, I've run as much as 40 degrees.
Wow.
On the 85, and it's been the sweet spot.
But you got to get on a dyno.
But you need to be on a dyno. Yeah, do not do this unless you get on a dyno.
Dyno or detonate.
But yeah, I would say 34,000% safe.
Mm-hmm.
36, I'm going to say 700% safe.
700%?
Or 170. Whatever. 100% and 70%.
Like it'll be fine. Yeah, but don't go forward. Well, it's Price is Right rules.
Right.
It's,
exactly.
As close as you can get without going over.
Right.
Because that ends badly.
Yeah.
So cool deal. And Caitlin says, got a sweet spot for a 602 on CHP?
Yeah, generally 34. Dead nuts. Again, I mean, I haven't seen anything that likes on a 602 that likes CHP more than 34. And 32 is always a safe deal on race gas. But, I mean, our recommendation sheet goes out there over 34 on CHP.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I think we'll wrap it up a little bit early today. I'm still recovering from the show here and going to get some more rest. There's so much to do this week. But do you have any other final thoughts?
I didn't even drink a whole beer. That's impressive.
Oh my gosh, we never even asked what you were drinking. You're probably drinking Ultra. No, you're drinking Bud Light, aren't you?
No.
Or Keystone.
No. To honor my Yankee friends in Pittsburgh who actually went to the playoffs with their shitty football team. Somehow. I'm drinking Keystone tonight.
And I'm drinking orange juice just because I wanted some. I don't know. just because it's. Well, with that, we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank you all for being here. Definitely hit that subscribe button over on iTunes or Google Play or any of those.
You got another question.
Like our page. That's just the same one. But yeah, I'll take that off the page though. Otherwise it gets confusing. All right. Well, thank you all for being here, being part of the show. And I will be back on Tuesday, tomorrow, for Top 5 Tuesday. I do that 2:00 Eastern on every Tuesday. And then we'll be back next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
This weekend, we have to go to
we'll be at Race Logic. So that's why, and now we've changed the show to Mondays. It works out great.
That works out all right.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you. Thank you.